Hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets around the world, but people are still asking questions about what does the movement want to achieve? What demands will they make eventually? And is there a unifying cause or theme that unites them all? The New York Times this morning suggests that the only thing uniting the protesters is a mood of anger. They report, quote, while the protesters seem united in feeling that the system is stacked against them, with the rules written to benefit the rich and the connected, they're also just as often angry about issues closer to home, like education and the local environment. There may be no common manifesto or list of goals, something that has drawn criticism from both inside and outside the movement. But there's one common thread, as I said, anger. And some have looked for jobs for months. Others have lost their homes to foreclosure. Angry. They all are. So, is the movement just about anger, and where is it headed? For that, we're joined by two participants out there and spokespeople for the movement itself. Tyler Combelic is a freelance web designer, and Michael Premo is a photojournalist. Gentlemen, they've both been involved, by the way, with the movement from the earliest days. So you are veterans out there. How long have you been out there, Michael?
Thank you for having us on, Chris. I have been out here since the first week, about 3.5 weeks now.
And what have you felt that you've accomplished so far, personally?
I feel like what we've accomplished so far is exercising our democratic rights to peaceably assemble. It is an amazing, exhilarating experience to be involved with a movement of people who are gathered together to redress our grievances. You know, for generations, literally, people have marched. People have used electoral politics to try to address the systemic challenges that disaffect a majority of people in America with no outcome. And now is a moment for people to sort of unlock their radical imagination about how we can find creative solutions to the same old problems.
Same question to you, Tyler. Your experience out there, and what have you accomplished?
I've been out here since the 5th day of the protest, so it's been about a full month for me now. Honestly, this has been the most inspiring thing I've ever been a part of my life. I have found a voice that I had thought I lost to apathy and cynicism, which has become prevalent in this country due to the fact that people feel like moneyed interests or the economic structure just does not favor them. They don't have a place in government. They don't have a place on Wall Street. And so this is giving a voice to people that felt like their voice was taken from them. And I think that is empowering unto itself, and that's what I've taken most from this thus far.
Okay, let's talk about the power that you might have. I'm going to go back to Michael, and I'm not being unserious. I'm being deadly serious. If you had real power in your hands, sir, right now, to change the economic structure of this country, to balance it toward fairness, what would you do personally if you could do it? If you were, say, president, almost a dictator in this country now, what would you do?
What would I do? Personally, at the moment we're not quite at the place where we can consensus upon articulating clear demands. For me personally, it's about shifting the balance of power to allow the democratic process to be back in the hands of the people, so that all voices can be properly represented in all facets of our system, both economic and political.
You, Tyler? Same question. If you had power right now, you don't have power, you have a voice. If you had power, you just got to we're looking for some sense of the dream. What's the dream at the end of the tunnel here for you folks? You're putting a lot of your life into this thing. Where do you want it to sort of go generally, without being specific? Generally, where do you want it to go?
Generally, where I want this to go is to create a new paradigm shift in this country, where it's just an assumption again that the American people have a voice in all aspects of government, that one vote for one person is the way the electoral system works and moneyed interests aren't involved. A system in which everyone has equal opportunity to achieve the American dream regardless of where they're born, regardless of race, regardless of gender. And these are just simply not truths in our country right now. Maybe we aspire to these values, but I think this movement wants to see these become reality, and that to become just the normal narrative day to day in this country. And that's why I think there's more of a movement than a political party or anything like that.
Yeah, but you're all individuals in that movement. Staying with you, Tyler, what was it that first stirred you to make you want to join this movement? What experience, what observation about our economy, our politics?
I think for me, it was when the recession occurred, I just felt frustrated. I felt like there was no recourse. You had two political parties that would argue that it's the other party's fault that the system was broken, but neither were offering any solutions. Neither were talking about what's the future for America, what's the future to make this country great. And when I came down to the protest, I decided to stop by, check it out for myself. I found a voice, I found people expressing the same frustrations and having hope that if we all raised our voices together, we'd be heard, we'd get coverage, and suddenly politicians would have to listen to us again. They'd have to listen to the American people, the people they're supposed to be representing to begin with.
Mike, same question to you. What was it that stirred you to go out there and give you a part of your life to this?
For me, it was feeling like I didn't have a place for my voice to be heard, feeling like that I wasn't represented in government, feeling like I wasn't represented in the broader economic system. You know, coming out of college and having $50,000 in debt, being unemployed for 2 years, working odd jobs that barely pay the rent with no health insurance and limited options, and no one to really listen to what I felt was important.
Well, I'm going to study what you guys have said. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to type it up. I'm going to look at it. Your voices have been heard. Thank you for coming on Hardball, even in this small amount of time. Michael Premo and Tyler Combelic, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on and representing Occupy Wall Street.